What's good people, it's JayCactus, welcome to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to mix rap vocals in FL Studio using only stock plugins. Before you watch the video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, and let's jump straight into it. Alright, so the session that I'm working on today is from one of my boys, EMRSNX. It's an artist I've been working with. I engineered this track which is already out. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, all streaming platforms. It's called Cloud9 Thoughts. But when I mixed it, I did use paid plugins. You don't always have to use paid plugins though, so I wanted to show you a tutorial today how to mix rap vocals just using stock plugins. So the only thing that we're going to focus on is the main vocal today. You can see that there's ad-libs. I'm not really going to focus on them right now just for this tutorial. But the first thing that I do is just to get organized. So we know that we're going to be mixing main vocals, and I'll set one up for ad-libs as well. But if we're coming to the mixer, I'm going to have track 1 as the instrumental. You can give it a color if you want, just to separate it. Insert 2, I'm going to have as main vocal. Give that a different color. And then insert 3 can just be ad-libs. Can't spell. Here we go. Just going to make that a lighter pink. Right, okay, so now we've got 3 mixer channels set up, which is fine. What I like about FL20 is the fact that you can link these to the mixer channel. So if you right click here, you can go to track mode, audio track, and then select instrumental. So now anything that you put onto this channel will have all the effects that you've routed to track 1. So I'm going to do the same for these. So track mode, audio track, this is the main vocal. Track 3, ad-libs. So now for example, if I took one of the ad-libs and put it onto the main vocal channel, it would automatically bring it on to this one here. So that's pretty good to set up. So then once you've got it named and organized, the first thing that I do is have a listen and set your levels right. So I'm just going to highlight a section of the verse and just listen and just set the level to where I think it's sounding about right.
When I look into your eyes are so lit like the moonlight every time.
So instantly you need to bring the instrumental down because there's not much headroom.
When I look into your eyes are so lit like the moonlight every time we touch them butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma give you little insights, show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things.
Just leaving a bit of headroom for the master as well, so that's about right. Alright, so once you've set the level, the first thing that I do is take out any unwanted breaths or gaps in the vocals that are just unwanted. You don't really need them, because even though you can't see the waveform, there might be some like hidden frequencies that you don't really need, which are just going to cause unwanted mud. So you can see that I've already done it. I've been through the full main vocal and the ad-libs and taken out the breaths just to save some time for the tutorial. But when you're doing it, all you need to do is use the slice tool. So I'll show you what I did here. So make sure that this stretch mode is off. If it's on and you're dragging these around, then it's going to actually stretch out the vocal. And you can just solo it just to see. So hear that breath there. So all you're doing is pressing C to activate the slice tool. And then what I like to do is hold shift so it's a straight line. Because look, if I wasn't holding shift, you can end up cutting diagonally. But if you hold shift, it's usually going to be a straight line. So I'll cut out the breaths. Then you can press P and then right click to delete it. It's good to learn these hotkeys because you can navigate throughout your DAW much quicker. So the other thing that I do is set this to generic bleeding. And what that does is create a bit of a fade out to stop those clicks and pops, because if you're just cutting things suddenly, then sometimes you'll notice that you'll get little pop noises. So I like to keep it on generic bleeding. So go through the full main vocal and the ad-libs, cut out any unwanted breaths. Sometimes an artist will purposely give a breath and they might like it in there, but if it's just like, you know, just to catch the breath so they can say more words, then I'd cut them out because they're not really needed. Once you've cut the breaths, I'd look at first automating the level. So when rappers are recording, sometimes they're much louder than before. They might raise certain words or shout certain words and then come back to the same level. You can see from this take that it's all pretty consistent, so I didn't really automate the volume at first. You can kind of do it with compressors, but if you do it before it gets to the processing stage, then you're giving the compressor less work to do. So if you wanted to do that, I double click in the vocal, come to the wrench tool, click volume, and then create automation clip. So what I'd like to do is copy the value, because we've already set the level. And then let's say, for example, this bit was really loud. You could put some points in here. I'm just going to paste the value so it doesn't change. Bring it down again. I'm going to paste the value here. So this top bit is all the same. And then if you wanted this to be the same, you could copy this value and paste it there. Right? So you do that just for some real loud parts. I don't really need it in this section, so I'm going to get rid of that. So I'd look at the real loud peaks, bring them down gently if you can so that the volume is pretty much consistent all the way through. Then once you've got the volume automation set, it's time to start the processing. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this vocal based around home studio recordings, because certain techniques that I use might not necessarily be used in nice studios where there's no background noise, for example. So if you're recording at home, the chances are you're going to get background noises like, I don't know, it could be cars outside, or it could be the fan from your computer. So to get rid of them, we're going to use the fruited limiter. And if you look at this section here, the noise gate, this is what we're going to play with. So the threshold is going to change the line here, so you know at what point you want to capture it. So it's going to be real low, because if you had it up high, it's going to capture all of the signal. And we're bringing the gain all the way down as well, because that just means it's acting as a barrier for certain noises. So this is the extreme. It's cutting everything out. But if we bring the threshold real low,
when I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides.
And then the release is the amount of time it's going to take for the signal to go back to normal. So you can play around with the release and the threshold until you're just getting rid of any background noises. There's not too many in this recording, so I've only set it real low.
Like the moonlight. Every time we touch.
About there is fine. And then the next thing I'm going to move on to is the EQ. So with the EQ, I like to add two separate ones. I do one subtractive and one additive. So for the subtractive ones, I like to cut out any unwanted frequencies. So I'm just going to have a listen. So in the instrumental, there's some nice bass and kicks going, which are taking up the sub frequencies, and I don't really need them in the main vocals. So I'm going to bring 0.1 down.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight.
I'm going to adjust the steepness with this curve.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing?
I don't need to take out too much. And then when you're recording in home studios, the chances are you're going to get a lot of unwanted frequencies, especially like a boxy tone. So if you're going to go from numbers, I always suggest like not to go from numbers, but they can be good starting points. So look around 300 hertz and 500 hertz and see if you can find any unwanted frequencies, and we can take those out. And the way to do that is to use a sweep method. So I'm going to use point number 3. I'm going to bring it up, and then I'm going to tighten it up with the bandwidth here. I'm just going to bring that down, and then I'm going to listen through. I'll turn the instrumental off. Like usually I recommend EQing with the instrumental on, but just for this tutorial I want to show you the frequencies that you can hear.
Eyes are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing, I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind.
So there's a bit of a boxy frequency there, which I'm just going to take out. You don't want to do it too much, maybe by about 3 dB. And then I know with my mic, because I recorded this in my home studio, I know there's usually something around 500 hertz which I need to get rid of.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing, I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the.
There we go. It's quite a harsh, boxy noise. And you can have a listen to some of the other frequencies and see if there's any other rubbish that you don't need. With this, you really need to train your ears as well, because if I just start pulling up points and going around everywhere,
when I look into your eyes,
there's always going to be frequencies that don't sound too good because I've brought it up so drastically high. So kind of train your ears on what frequencies usually have problems, especially if you're recording in home studios. So I'm just going to go through, because I know there's usually some harsh frequencies that I get in the high mids.
So lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing, I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit. Don't know why I'm saying shit.
One there, and then I usually get a little bit in the highs. I'm just going to grab 0.5.
So lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing, I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking.
Right there. So it's just quite harsh. So right here, I'm just making a few cuts just to clean up the vocals. So you should be able to hear a bit of a difference. I'll turn it off. And then on.
Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing, I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you.
So that just removes some of the rubbish that we don't need. And then the next thing I'm going to do is open another EQ, but this is to boost the parts that I want. So if you're going to go with numbers for additive EQ, I'd say that around 2 to 3 kilohertz is where you get general loudness, 5 kilohertz is where you get vocal presence, and 8 kilohertz is where you get a bit of a sizzle. So it obviously depends on each track, so I'm just going to listen with the instrumental and see what I want to boost for this.
All the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit. Don't know what I'm saying shit. Every time I'm with you, I just wanna float away in it. Take it to your climax.
So you can hear that that's just making the vocal a bit louder.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing, I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit. Don't know what I'm saying shit. Every time
that's just adding a bit of clarity.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing, I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit.
Then I'm just giving a bit of a boost there. Just add a bit of sizzle and some high end.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit.
So
like the
without.
Moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think I'm playing, I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit.
So the next thing that I'm going to add is a fruity compressor. And what compressors do is reduce the dynamic range. So just to show you what that means, if you're looking at a signal, the dynamic range is the kind of difference between the loud points and the quieter points. So if you had a signal that's just going up and down all the time, the compressor will help to bring things closer together so that it's a bit more consistent. So it's quite consistent as it is, but I'm going to show you how a compressor works. So the threshold is the amount of signal that you want to capture. A good standard point to go to is around about -21. So the ratio is basically how much attenuation you want to apply. So what that means is, let's say for example it's set to 2:1, which is pretty standard. Any signal that goes above the threshold by 2 dB will be brought down to 1 dB above the threshold. And then because you're bringing the signal down, you need to make that back up with the gain knob. The attack is how fast you want it to capture the signal. So if you've got a fast attack, it's going to pretty much attack everything of the vocal. If you increased it, it's going to take a little bit longer for the compression to kick in. And then the release knob is how long you want the compression to hold for before the signal goes back to its original state. So what I like to do is apply quite a lot of compression for rap vocals just to make sure that it's quite consistent all the way through. So I'm going to bring the threshold to around 21. I'm going to put the ratio up maybe around 4:1.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moon.
So fruity compressor doesn't show you how much attenuation is happening in the plugin, but you can see it from the levels here. So if I just play this,
when I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight.
You can see that it's hitting around -15, and when I turn it on,
when I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight.
It's hitting around -20, -22. So we want to bring the gain up by about 5 just to make up for it.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides.
So I'll show you before and after. So before,
float away in it. Take it to your climax, then I just wanna lay in it.
After,
if I had free time, then I would spend the day in it. I know when you hear this, you gon' be shy.
So that just makes the volume more consistent throughout his vocals. The next thing that I'm going to add is saturation. And to be honest, with FL, there's not a lot of saturation tools you can use. You could use soundgoodizer. I just use it gently though. I'll show you how this works.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Or you think,
but I think it does quite a lot to the vocal.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight.
But a good trick is to apply the soundgoodizer and then reduce the level of the soundgoodizer. So this is the mix level. So if you've got it on full, then 100% of soundgoodizer is applied. But if you bring this back, you can see up here the percentage reduces.
When I look into your eyes, are so
it blends in with the original signal.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit.
I'll show you before.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight.
After.
Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides.
It gives it a nice bit of sizzle. If you want to use a free plugin, there's one called Saturation Knob, which is free to download. It's the same kind of thing. You can just bring this up. It's just one knob.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma give you little insights.
You could
Show
bring
you
the
how
level
I'm
down if
thinking,
you
all
want
the
to.
crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit. Don't know what I'm saying shit. Every time I'm with you,
And you can see it makes the vocal a bit louder, so you might want to bring it down. A lot of plugins will have an output knob, and usually if you're making things louder, it's best to bring the level back down in the plugin so you don't have to adjust it in the mixer.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight.
So
Every time
before.
we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing?
After.
I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things.
And then
that's on my mind.
soundgoodizer.
Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit. Don't know what I'm saying.
So I think I like the
Every time
saturation
I'm
knob.
with you, I just wanna float away in it. Take you to your climax, then I just wanna lay in it.
And then because we've added saturation and a lot of high end, we're also going to use a de-esser. And FL doesn't have a direct de-esser, but you can do it with multi-band compression. So it's the same kind of principle which I showed you with the compressor, but now we're only targeting the high band because that's where the harsh S's are going to be. So I'm going to take the instrumental off so you can listen to this.
When I look into your eyes, are so.
So I'm going to mute the low band and the mid band and just focus on the high band. This is basically letting you capture what you determine as the high band, so you can capture more of it. Same with these other bands as well. So let's listen to where those harsh S's are. So we're getting them there. So same again with the threshold. I'm going to bring this down. Ratio. Let's bring this up a bit. The attack, I want that pretty quick. So you can see a bit of attenuation is happening. I'll play before and after.
I would spend a day in it.
Let me take these bands, unmute them.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit
And then
like
on.
the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think.
So it's just doing a subtle amount, but it does the job. So let me play you what we've got so far. I'm gonna take the ad-libs off.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight.
This with no
Every time we
effects.
touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma
All
give you
effects.
little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit. Don't know what I'm saying shit. Every time I'm with you, I just.
All right, so what I like to do next is give the vocal some space with reverb and delay. And usually I have them set up in auxiliary sends, which you can see here. But I'm gonna base this tutorial around beginners, so I'm gonna show you how to set these up. You can set them up in any insert. So I'm gonna come to insert 10. I'm gonna rename this aux reverb, auxiliary reverb. Just gonna give it a color like blue. And I'll do one for delay as well. Right? And what an auxiliary send is basically a duplicate of the signal. So you've got the main vocal, which is the dry signal, and then the reverb, which I'm going to apply here, which is the wet signal, and you're blending the two together. So if I apply reverb directly on the vocal and I'm not adjusting the dry and wet right, I'm going to wash out the vocal a bit, because if you're bringing the dry down and the wet up, then you're kind of pushing the vocal to the background, which can be good in some instances, like you might want to do it for ad-libs or background vocals. But in this case, we're going to use the main vocal as the dry level. So in the reverb, I'm going to bring this down and then set the wet level to 100%. So now when I'm applying effects, this is 100% reverb. So what I usually like to do for rap vocals is cut the lows a bit. I like to increase the size of the room. Just a bit of decay. And then the separation knob will make the reverb wider. So I'm going to bring that to the left. If you bring it to the right, it's going to make things more central, but I like to widen it out. So I'm going to widen it a little bit. And then to link these two together, I'm just coming to the main vocal and then clicking down here. And you can see that it automatically sets it to 100%, but I don't want the full thing. I'll show you the extreme.
When I look into your eyes, it's
So that's way too much. But if I bring this down, it's just blending the signal in. So maybe around.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma give.
So you're just adjusting this to taste, really. Like this track to me is quite mellow. It's quite ambient in a way. So I want a bit of reverb. I don't want so much that it's overpowering, but I just want people to feel it.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma give you a little
around
insight.
there. And then the same for delay. So I'm just going to come to fruity delay 2. I'm going to bring the dry down to 0. I'm going to set it to ping pong mode because I want to give it a bit more space, so it's going to bounce between the left and right ear. I'm going to increase the pattern just a little bit because I mainly want the ad-libs to be filling up the side space, but I just want to widen the main vocals just a little bit. And then for the time, I think I want it set to 2. Bring the volume with the feedback down a little bit, and let's just see how this sounds. So same again, click on the main vocal, click on the auxiliary delay, and then just bring the level down. I only want a little bit here.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit
We
like
turn
the
the reverb
moonlight.
off.
Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma give you a little
See what that sounds
insights.
like.
Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind. Girl, you got me praying shit, I'm playing shit. Don't know what I'm saying shit. Every time.
So let me show you the extreme.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma give you little insights. Show you how I'm thinking, all the crazy things that's on my mind.
All right, so let me show you everything without effects. So I'm going to turn the reverb, delay,
When I look
and
into your eyes,
beat
are
off.
so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch them, butterflies
now with
hit
them
my
on.
insides. Oh, you think I'm playing? I'ma give you little insights. Show you
much
how I'm
clearer.
thinking, all
It's
the
got its
crazy
own
things that's
space,
on my mind.
bringing out
Girl, you got me praying
positive
shit,
sides
I'm
of his
playing shit.
vocal.
Don't know what I'm saying shit. Every time I'm with you, I just wanna float away.
Fitting in the beat nice.
Take it to your climb.
If you wanted it to sit in the instrumental just a bit more, and the instrumental hasn't been mixed well, this instrumental has been mixed pretty well. So the main vocal, what you can have a look at is where his vocal's sitting in the EQ.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time
So you
we
can see
touch
this
them,
area
butterflies hit
that
my
we boosted.
insides.
So we boosted this area around just over 2 kilohertz. So in the beat, we could actually bring that down just a tiny bit.
When I look into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight.
Adjust
Every
this.
time we touch them, butterflies hit my insides.
Maybe around
Oh, you
about 2 dB
When I look
reduction.
into your eyes, are so lit like the moonlight. Every time we touch
It's
them,
just a subtle amount, but it's just going to allow the vocal to take that space.
So yeah, that's it for this video. I just wanted to show you that you can still get a good sound with your vocals using stock FL plugins. It's more of a beginner's tutorial, which is why I didn't go too in depth with it, but I hope you took something from that. And to listen to the full track, which I mixed previously, then there's a link in the description to EMR SNX's tune, Cloud9 Thoughts. And if you want any other tutorials, then leave a suggestion in the comments. And if you've got any questions, then shout me on Instagram at JayCactus Music. But I'll see you next time.
I just hope you know that you my number one, that's like my favorite thing. Giving you my soul inside this song, I hope you take it in. Need you like the air, I need to breathe and I'm just trying to live. Give you little pieces of my soul, so catch me if I slip. Come here, let me be your H2O, then help you take a drink. Girl, I got some things on my mind and I'm just trying to let you know. Every time I close my eyes, me and you, we in our own little show. I don't really smoke, but your high's like a place I ain't never been before. Floating through the sky when I'm with you, and Cloud9's where I'm trying to go. You a sweet female with attitude and confidence. Girl, I bring you flowers if you wanted them.